Hello, Scribblers. I'm Katie, the founder and CEO of the Scribblers Den, your online source for writing craft courses and writing community. We're chatting with Ladz today. They were born in Poland and currently live in Texas. When they're not a marketing manager for a major digital publisher, it sounds so fancy. I love it. They're an artist who loves kettlebells, writing, rewriting. Love that. Journaling and curling up with their Kindle, learning from other authors. They have been a panelist at the 2020 Nebulous Conference, the 2021 Weeknight Writers Exploring Story Structure event, 2019 and 2021 Sirens Conference, and DisCon 3, DisCon the third.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Discount
in
3, I think is how they say
2021.
it.
Their work has been featured as part of Sarah Gailey's Building Beyond series and in Void Junk issue 2. Their debut novella, Ice Upon a Pier, is available in ebook and paperback. The Fealty of Monsters, Volume 1, and The Cradle of Eternal Night are also out in the world, and you can buy them right now. So it's so great to have you with us today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. And thank you for the intro. I think that covers everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I like also just thank you for having a really solid intro, like kind of like media stuff on your website, because as an interviewer, I appreciate that. It makes my job so much easier. Um,
I can speak to it a bit later, but in terms of like tips for indie authors,
yes.
it doesn't have to be a website, but like a central location where like, oh, I want to reach this person, or I
Yeah.
want to know like what they're up to. Crucially important.
Yeah, it's so nice because there's been a couple people where they don't have that, and then I'm like just Googling them and trying to find and pull pieces from like random spots. So I really do appreciate that. Excellent.
Yeah.
Good tip. So can we just start kind of like with your path to publication? What has your journey been like? And how did you land on becoming an indie author?
Yeah, so it's been a long one because I mean, like what we've been friends for almost like a decade now. Yeah,
Yeah.
so like when me and you started talking, we were both like on different wavelengths of getting into traditional publishing,
Mm,
which I had tried for I think 5 to 7 years of multiple books, number of rejections. And what finally kind of came to a head was I was on the tail end of a pretty brutal revise and resubmit on like the third iteration of the series I wanted to do.
mm,
And so once I had sent it, like, I'm not even line editing this, I'm just sending it off.
yeah.
Once I was at that point of like my last traditional publishing project, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. Especially
Yeah.
with how much knowledge I accumulated of like getting an agent, getting an editor, what a good agent is, what a bad agent is. Like
Mm,
my list of people who I wanted to like gatekeep me went from like dozens to seven. And in
yeah.
2025, I think that list now is three. So I was
Yeah.
like, do I really want my whole creativity like depended on the opinions of three people. Um, I
Yeah.
don't I don't think so, but I also had found a few works at the time, like kind of at around the same time where
Mm,
um I was like, oh wait, oh people are doing such cool stuff on like their own and like yeah, so between my own um deciding if I actually wanted to do this and like what I wanted for my work and just like finding specifically Knives in Your Eyes by Rude Friction like
mm,
at the right time was
yeah.
where I was like okay maybe I should like actually do this indie thing because I'll be so honest, this ties into your next question. My work is so weird and I don't
It,
even
it does. I do feel like your work does like defy like the genres of traditional publishing, but it's also brilliant and like wonderful, and the world wants it, obviously. So,
yeah, thank you. Yeah, so it was like I had already been, my pattern recognition isn't the best. I will be the first to admit that. But like when you see like things that are like what is debuting, what is selling, there are like patterns that emerge, and I
yes.
wasn't sure I wanted to like meet any of those. And so yeah, the other thing that was emerging around the same time was I don't want to dwell too much on it, but the whole thing with like specifically Gen AI art,
Yes.
and also in some of my reading experiences where like I'm not a professional editor, but I read voraciously. I have beta read. I've done like amateur editing and just some of the things where I'm like, I don't know if this got the attention it deserved. And so it was like slowly realizing how much control I wanted, which is what got me onto the path of going indie because like yeah, if publishers are giving their lead titles like AI like generated AI covers that don't even look good,
Yeah,
like what hope is that like the most I could hope for was mid-list and I don't think that that was it's a it's such a handoff of agents of creative
it
agency
is.
that I'm like mm.
Yeah.
So
And you're
yeah,
not the first indie author that I've spoken with who's like, I wanted to maintain all of that control over my words, the art that would go with it, all of those things. Because in traditional publishing, like you produce the words and that's like where you start and end. Like that's it. They're like, okay, we'll do everything else. And they make all those choices for you. So
until very suddenly they don't.
yes. Yeah,
Like
also true. Yeah. And like for no
so
reason.
that was it
Yeah.
was like so much creative like whiplash and just
Hmm.
the creative was getting butting up with the business side of things.
Yes.
So yeah. And also I have a master's in integrated marketing. So like maybe I know a little too much about that to be able to like accept what probably none marketing I'd get.
Yeah, yeah, because they don't like traditional publishing, they pick like three books that they're gonna do, and
Hmm.
everybody else just like, oh, well, good luck. I hope you sell. And you're like,
Right. Yeah.
no, I need help.
Yeah. So all of that combined is how I landed on becoming an indie author.
No, and that's absolutely fantastic. I feel I like I am still pursuing that path, just because I want to give up control. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah.
And I'm still pounding the pavement and I haven't gotten anything. So like it is a long haul. And every day I'm like, maybe I should just publish it. Maybe I should just do this anyways. And I'm about like this close. So it's
Yeah.
coming one way or another, 2026, something's gonna happen. Um, so yeah, we talked a little bit. You mentioned how your books kind of like defy like the traditional genres and expectations. So your books combine horror, fantasy, and erotica. Not always in that order, but would just really love to chat about each of those kind of elements and why we need to have these books with them. So where do you want to start? Like, just what do you want to say about this?
Yeah. So I think the easiest one to speak about it in this thing is the fealty of monsters because that was, I think, that was the first thing I wrote with no intention of sending it to a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
So like Ice Upon a Pier, I had written four novella submissions. The Cradle of Eternal Night is a reworked previous query novel that I had to do. So like fealty was where I sat down and I was like, okay, so like if I didn't have to write it in a way that I know would have to work for a query, what am I doing? And so for me, it's like really a reflection of the stuff I like reading.
Mhm.
So like I read a lot more horror than I do fantasy, and I think I don't know where that stems from, but I think it's because like the kind of fantasy I want to make just like
Has those
doesn't
horror
exist.
elements. Yeah.
So like trying to find it just kept getting increasingly more frustrating. Where like actually in finishing the draft of Fealty Volume 2, The Institute of Manners, I very quickly realized why so many fantasy books just kind of end with, and we got a good king, and all the problems are solved. And I'm like, oh, great, this isn't how anything works. And in trying to write a book that doesn't do that, it's like, oh, I understand. I fully understand. So, yeah, there's just like a lot of like expectations that I find interesting in horror, expectations that I find interesting in fantasy.
Mhm.
So, like, I enjoy combining those. And the thing with the erotica is like, I don't think I'll be writing a genre forward erotica for the reason of that. as a reader, and maybe because of a different like cultural milieu that isn't based on like um at least a specific way American Christianity plays out, where I struggle a lot with adult books, and especially queer adult books, because a lot of the time they're either so desexed that like it feels like it's saying things it doesn't intend to,
Okay.
or it's all sequestered in the romance genre and it just doesn't click with me like as a reader or a writer. And I'm like, why do these things have to be separate? So like I do get reviews on Fealty that are like, this should have been an erotica. And I'm like, but the eroticism does not drive the plot. So
Right.
therefore, like I bring it as just like it's another thing people do. Like,
Yeah, it's an element and you just like and you do it so well.
oh, thank you. Yeah, like I just fully believe sex scenes are just like any other scene where like if your sex scenes are pointless, they're probably pointless in the same way other like a different type of scene would be pointless,
Right.
if that makes sense.
No, perfect sense. Yeah.
So yeah, it's basically just like, yeah, the ability to pick things that I find fun and I just put them all in a thing. And it does cause some like, so do I call it dark fantasy? Do I call it horror? Um, but luckily because I am indie and marketing changes so fast,
Mm.
like I it is a gothic. I will die on this own hill that I built. A fealty is a gothic, but because of what like marketing expectations are, I have started calling it grim dark political fantasy, and like
Okay.
both are true. A lot of genre is just marketing terms, and I bring a these are all suggestions vibe that stresses some people out.
I could understand that. But that's, I think, a really good way to look at that is just like, it's just like a marketing vibe. Like, this is just what you're doing, like marketing words and things like that. Because I know, like, I write fantasy books, but I feel like I could be more specific than just fantasy because it's so wide open. But then you just have to like find kind of those vibey words to put with it to get people to understand like what it's going to be about or what it is. So that makes,
And I think because I very much write what I want to read, I try
mhm.
to like position my work as like me, the reader looking for that thing to read.
Yes.
Um, and so yeah.
Yeah. No, and I love that you're just like, this is what I want to read and I'm gonna write it. Because you're doing this and it's gonna open the doors for other readers who are out there like, wait, I could do this too. And then they're like you'll see more and more of that come out. So you're
Yeah.
you're like setting the trend.
Trendsetter.
Yeah. Add that to your intro on your on your webpage. Like Scribblers then called me a trendsetter. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, One of the other things that I really love about your books is that they are just unapologetically queer, which I think is so important. And I remember, I think it was in 2019 when I first met you at the Sirens conference, and you were part of a panel that was discussing the creation of queer normative world building and writing. And I'm just curious, like, what challenges do you see writers having as they might be attempting to do this, or just the overall landscape of, is that something that still has a needed space?
I I think so, but I mean, my whole response to do we need more X that's queer? Yes. We're still not at a point where we can really like cherry pick like, oh, this one isn't good because like if it doesn't exist, we're losing this entire like niche
Right.
genre. Um, but I think the thing that's like evolved the most for me for thinking about queer norm is who is the queer norm for? Because so one of the things that really sticks out, I forget who said it. It might have been Katie or Kai who was talking about like how making a world queer norm changes the family structure.
Hmm.
Because if your queer normative isn't built for heteronormative expectations of like
Right.
one mom, one dad, each with a kid, like how does that change everything? And so like that's a lot of world building rigor to implement, right? So like if you're trying to write, I think with like the broadest appeal, though there's like an approach to queer norm where it's like homophobia doesn't necessarily exist in a very tangible way that we experience here. Or there's queer norm where no, the world, like the laws might be a little bit more accepting, but like people still have that struggle.
Okay, yeah.
And so, like, it kind of depends on who you're writing it for. So, like, for me, it's like, okay, well, I would want to see something cool that actually, like, me personally, I would like to see something cool where, um, like, the politics are different, the family is different. Like, you can't really have oh, giving up your eldest daughter to save the family subplot because, there's, like, I've
Yeah,
seen
why is it
approaches to
gendered? Why
queer
does it have to be
norm.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, there are approaches to queer norm that I've seen that say like, oh, fake dating as a trope can't be queer. And I'm like, okay, that's a little too far. But yeah, it's like, and I think the other thing for the creation of my work though is in one of these queer norm conversations, I can only think of I think two books
Hmm.
where the antagonist is also queer
Ooh, okay.
in a queer norm context. So like
Yeah.
there's plenty of books where it's like, okay, homophobia isn't the problem, but like the villains are still straight people, which fine. I don't think that's like intentional. I think that's like
Mhm.
more of an emergent things, but like yeah, for me it's just queer people are people, derogatory and complimentary. So that's like also the lens that I bring to it where it's
Mhm.
like uh yeah, like I feel like it's a lot of unintentional like virtue signaling of queerness where it's like no,
Okay.
queerness is it's a facet of life like any other thing.
Yeah, it's so nuanced. There's no like one version of queerness because like here we are, like just the two of us, and both of us are in that queer spectrum, but like very divergent in other ways. So
Yeah.
like not even the same. So it's interesting. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and so it's yeah, so like to put a cap on it, I think a lot of the challenges are just like who are you writing it for? Like is
Mhm.
it for and I think specifically one of the struggles, especially when it comes to things like trans, where you can tell that like reading some trans books as a trans person, you can tell that there might have been some decisions made to make sure that like you're as far from the ideal reader for this book understands what's happening.
Okay.
Um, and not in a way, and I don't mean that like derogatory. I mean, it's like a facet of like if you need to sell 20,000 copies, like you're gonna need
Right.
to make it accessible for like the most number of people, right? So like uh I don't even know if that's like a marketing consideration, but it's even more esoteric, like who's this book for conversation.
Yeah. No, and that is, I think that's a really great way to look at it. Is just like, who are you creating this for? And then it would spiral out from there because you're right. There are so many other considerations that go into it other than just being like, there's no homophobia here. It's a lot deeper than that when you really get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we've like had a deep conversation. Like that was a lot, but that was
Yeah.
amazing. So we're going to pivot from that, like really deep, to your inspiration for your writing. So you were born in Poland and your family has a rich Slavic history. How much of that inspires your writing? And are there any specific pieces or cultural touchstones that seem to keep coming up again and again?
It's so actually coming off of Once Upon a Con, which I'm not going to talk about the specifics of that. That's all in my newsletter, because I don't want to rehash it. But one of the things that really stuck out for me that I think I'm going to write more about is like how much people are actually seeking that kind of cultural
Mhm.
specificity, which is also almost influencing me as a reader, where I'm like trying to figure out why, like, if I read a book and like something doesn't like land with me, it's
Yeah,
because there's like a specificity that's missing to it. Where I just started reading it, so I don't know how it's gonna land at the end. But one of the tropes that I feel like a lot of fantasy does specifically is, oh, I have to go do crazy thing where I'll get like married off to this guy
yeah,
and I'm a girl and they hate girls, but it's like so nebulous that I'm like, it's 2025. Why are we
right.
still on like feminism 101? But then I'm reading The Fourth Wife by Linda Hamilton, which is a Mormon Gothic horror,
Oh, interesting.
where it's so baked into that like religious cultural experience that I'm like, no,
Mhm.
this is landing. So Yeah, in that was one of the things that also like drove me into indie very specifically, actually, because so one of the this is almost like a pitch for another project that I'm a part of. So in the Tales of the Tongue anthology, it's a collection of queer folk tales, and one of the thing and the one that I'd written is inspired by the Wawel dragon myth in Poland, which is like it's one of those things where if you're in the know about Poland, it's like Poland, pierogi, like Wawel dragon. Like that's our like maybe it's The Witcher now, but like if it's not that. Um where like 10 years ago when I started writing, I was like, well, I don't think I can tackle this one because I'm sure there's gonna be dozens by the time I'm like finished with the project.
Hmm.
When I say we are still on Baba Yaga and the Romanovs, we are still on Baba Yaga and the Romanovs, and neither of
Yeah.
those things is specifically Polish. Like,
Yeah, and I feel like I've read so many that have those elements. I'm like, yes, you are absolutely right.
yeah. And so again, one of those things of like, who is this for? If I was writing, like, if I was redoing Fealty for, this is how I check myself with how the series is working. It's like,
Okay.
could I still send this to an agent if I felt insane? If I crashed out real hard and decided I needed to do this, one of the things I would change is to make it more into like a Secret Princess Anastasia story,
Okay.
because that's what like the broad American reader would expect. But because there's like you can make a TBR list of just those,
Hmm.
where I was like, okay, but like what if like it seems like no one's attempted a more historically accurate fantasy version of this.
Yeah.
So, like, that's where I took it on. And then in talking about the book, like Cradle specifically, because people will flip it over, look at the back cover copy and see all the diacritics, and they're like, oh, this is Polish. And I'm like, yes. But that one is more of like, what if we just had all Polish characters for reasons other than I like it? So there's like a little bit of that. But like seeing people really like it was almost humbling in a way because I was like, oh, because this is the thing that I tried to like de-specific
Hmm.
because it isn't something that like the community in general like
Wants.
knows
Yeah.
about, if that
But
makes
there are
sense.
people again like that, and this is what I love about indie authors is you say no, there is a market for this, and like your readers find you, and you find your readers, and I feel like traditional publishing is really missing out on that message.
Yeah, and especially with saying like what's becoming popular and
Mhm.
what me and my critique partner have dubbed the self-insertification of fiction,
Yeah.
where the further you get from being able to just generalize the MC, like, and that's like a very thorny conversation because I don't know if that stems from like what's getting acquired, like the editors are seeking it out
Hmm.
for this, or if the editors are remolding books to be that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in my indie journey, I'm like digging into even more specific cultural contexts, and I'm like, the joke I make is I'm halfway to a PhD in the transitional period of like 1913 to 1920 in Russia, those 7 years.
Right.
And yeah, and I also make sure to like include what those books are at the end in case like someone
People
else
are
is like,
interested. Yeah.
yeah.
No, and I love when authors do that. They're like, if you want to like know more about this specific thing that I briefly mentioned or that I took creative license with, like here's where you can research. I just finished Heavenly Tyrant, um,
Hmm.
and they do that. In like the end, they're like, you can learn more about these things that this is loosely based on. So
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, my cat has decided that this is the
No,
time
that's
she needs
okay.
Olive for cuddles. So everybody shy. She's been buzzing around here.
She's so
So
cute though.
she's very good. I do really like her. She is my most outgoing cat, and she likes to be involved in everybody's business. So you have been blessed by her presence. What, as an indie author, what does your team look like? Do you have like what's your writing community, beta readers? Do you hire editors, cover designers? How much do you do on your own versus how much do you outsource?
Um, Yeah, so I'm trying to think of how to like compartmentalize this because this was
Oh.
one where so like for editing, I have my best friend Noah and Feeman, shout out. Current manners is currently his problem.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I basically work with him as my editor, but like one of the things that also drives me creatively is how many friends I just want to work with. Um,
Yeah.
because I bring an approach to the way I manage my nonsense that I feel like feels insane based on how like traditional publishing manages its nonsense.
Mhm.
So like yeah, so I'll go to Noah for he's with dev editing. He does copy edits as well. But then there's like my friend Ver that I really want to work with. So I'm like trying to find a project that isn't with Noah to like send them so that we can work together. So it's like less of a team and more of just like a network of collaborations I want to do.
Okay.
Because like when it comes to like the pros, like that is all me for all that entails,
Mhm.
better or worse. Beta readers, it's like a cohort of people I've collected over the years who
Yeah.
like I know get me, but also more importantly know how to ask good questions as they're reading that like regardless of if they're enjoying it or not.
Help you to get to that
Yeah,
like fully realized version that you're looking for.
yeah. And so for yeah, like with Fealty, a lot of the creation of that story was driven by the fact that I very specifically wanted to work with Soren Hexen. Like, I was
And
like,
that's
I'm
the
gonna learn.
illustrator, right?
Yeah, that's the illustrator.
Mhm.
And he also designed the stickers, and he also hand drew the cover. He's amazing. But like one of his special interests is like the Gothic,
Mhm.
and so I was like, well, if I'm gonna write a Gothic story, I'm gonna get a good grade on this.
Yes.
Especially with how much art I wanted and how like associated with him the work is going to be. So,
Mhm.
like, wanted to make sure that it's not something that's like cringe, if that makes sense.
It does. It does.
And then, so for Cradle, I really wanted to work with Palm Poison on something,
Mhm.
and he wanted to do some more book work. So, we're like, let's do book work together. And so, yeah, basically, so much of my collaboration is just, I want to work with this person. And that's the other thing that like I found surprising because God, I felt like a high schooler asking their crush out when
Aw.
the first time I emailed Soren. Like that email is
Yeah.
so professional. And now it's just like thank you sent from iPhone. Um, but yeah, no, well, because the thing that I feel like isn't disclosed is that like a lot of so say you see like a cool cover artist for like a traditionally published book. Like one of
Mhm.
the people that I see both in indie and in trad a lot actually is Corey Brickley, who did like the Mindy McGinnis covers for the Cask of Amontillado
Okay.
retelling, that
Yeah.
duology. So like they did the covers for those, and they also do a lot of work for Kit Vincent, who's an indie author. So like a lot of the people you want to work with are sometimes just like an email away, and the worst thing they're gonna say is I'm not available.
Right.
So
You gotta
just
take those
just
chances.
send the email.
Yep. Yeah, no, and I love that like I feel like this has followed like your writing journey too, because you're just like, I want to work with this person and I'm gonna do it. And you're just following your heart. And
Yeah.
that I think then influences what you're creating because you have so much internal joy and happiness and direction. And you're not writing for, somebody else's standards. You're writing for yours and you get to just do what you want to do. And that is so much more fun.
Yeah, so yeah, basically it's like if I'm not gonna whole ass this thing, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a really good way to look at it. Um, and then you can handle your marketing stuff because again, that's like one of your area of expertise is. So that's, I'm sure, very
Yeah,
helpful.
like really the thing that gets in the way. Yeah, I think this gets into the next question if we can just
Mhm.
transition into like balancing things.
Yes.
So yeah, when it comes to like the marketing team, like this is it. Like
Yeah.
this is the marketing team. Although one thing I do highly recommend doing that I actually paid well for itself is that when I was busy with Emerald City,
Mhm.
I did I did reach out to someone whose work I enjoyed for like social media and I was like, "Hey, so you offer these services. I just need like 10 posts so I don't have to think about it when I'm like
Yeah.
in transit for 3 weeks. And that was such a like weight off my shoulders. Um,
Yeah, no, that's
but
smart.
yeah, like I'm such a social butterfly, so a lot of the like team aspects of stuff are just like, oh, I've been following this person for a while and like, okay, let's see if they're available to do a thing.
Hmm.
Um, because it's also the like, you give money to that artist and then they can pay a different artist and then
Right.
like, yeah, we're all kind of passing around the same $20, but it's such
But
an
that's
enriching $20.
yes, yeah, the energy that comes with that is really important, and you get to just hang out and work with people that you love. So totally makes sense. Um,
Yeah, so one of the things I am actually struggling with right now is the balance of everything,
yeah.
where I did take a pretty, I think, yeah, in July and August, I've just been calling it a marketing hiatus because I've been going so long, so hard. And
Mhm.
I don't have anything ready for release, or even like announcing. It's just all vague ideas in the soup that is my brain.
Okay.
But
Breaks are
because of
good.
that, I
You've got
was
to do
like,
that.
hmm,
Breaks are good. Like you have to do that. You've got to take time
yeah.
to take care of you, refill that well, breathe. Yeah.
Yeah, and so especially in the context of adding selling in person to all of that, it's
Mhm.
like, okay, so I probably can't be hitting 4 social medias a day. Even if I got it down to like just fire up the latest episode of last podcast, I'm left hour and a half, 2 hours. Like even having done that as my flow, where I'm just like, okay, 2 hours, whatever we get done, we get done.
Right.
It's still just like, yeah.
It's a
And
lot.
also in the context that I do work full time, yeah, even thinking about how to outsource it, it's just like not worth it because there's no like immediate call to action,
Hmm.
which I think is also a lot of what like drives how I do marketing, where I think I'm just learning that I just prefer there to be a call to action.
Which
And if
makes
there,
sense.
yeah, and so if there isn't one, um, yeah, just kind of let people find the book.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to be like more formal. Like in September, I'm taking like a very intentional, no structured writing break until the 14th.
Good. Good for
I
you.
did start it like a week early, and man, oh man, is it a struggle because I'm like, I should be doing something. Don't.
Yeah, it's
Um,
hard. It's hard to get like switch out of those mindsets. I mean, like right now, I feel guilty because I haven't been doing any writing, but my school year just started, and that is overwhelming for me for like the first 3 weeks before my body and my mind like rebalances
yeah,
into like doing a performance for 8 hours a day for 150 teenagers. So I'm like, okay, it's okay that I'm not writing. I can just sit on my couch and eat potato chips and watch TV. I'm fine. But I have
yeah.
to
So a lot
remind
of the
myself
balance
every
there is
day.
also, yeah. So a lot of my balancing is like relearning my relationship to
Yeah.
time, where yeah, just because again, I was doing so much for so long that
Yeah.
when like the things were drying up, I was like,
Yeah. You have that
so
need to feel like you need to replace it and be like, I have to find something else now. And no, like it's okay to let things end.
yeah, I mean, I'll be so honest right now. It's just been Elden Ring, Night Rain, and Darkest Dungeon 2.
Beautiful.
We're doing great.
You are doing great. Like you're doing amazing. So
Yeah.
on top of all of these things, as we're talking about all the things that you do, you also review arcs on your blog. So first off, just how do you find time to read some of these arcs? And secondly, how has reading and reviewing books influenced the way that you write your own stories and present them to the world?
Yeah. So the reviews are now definitely more sporadic, where
Mhm.
if it's like, actually, I'm just gonna backtrack even further,
Okay, please do.
where, so in the transition from trad to indie publishing, I did also do a lot of work of what I want my branding to be. Because like if you're here for my reviews and then you see that I'm no longer reviewing because I'm doing like my own stuff,
Mhm.
I like that kind of sucks for you because like um But I also wanted to make sure that if I was to keep doing it, it's in a way that's like aligned with like the work I want to create. So now I think I'm just a lot more intentional about like what books I platform on my blog.
Right.
Um, because now I'm just treating it more as author branding in a way that also like lifts ships for other people, right?
Yeah.
Like, so one of the cause and effect are I don't want to give myself this much credit. But like one of the stories that I have is I was like scrolling my Blue Sky and I saw that this person whose art I love was reading this book and they don't read a lot. So whenever they specifically go out of their way to like show a book, I'm like, oh, this
Yes.
must rip. And it did. And then I put it on my blog with its 350 plus followers,
Mhm.
and it went on to win best horror indie horror novella.
Yeah.
So this is
Amazing.
Ossuary by TD Cloud. It's Paris catacombs with vampires. It's like The Descent,
Okay.
but it's boy gay, not girl gay.
That's beautiful. I feel like,
Hmm.
yeah. I feel like
And
that's
like,
worth reading. Yes.
right. And so, like me, who's interested in vampires, gay boys, and like horror, I was like,
Mhm.
okay, this is absolutely something I want to shout out. It's also like another indie author. So, like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, making sure that like all the periphery stuff that I'm doing kind of connects to my author brand. Yeah,
No, that's so
that's
smart.
kind of how I've chosen to pivot, which unfortunately means I'm not doing like the author to author interviews anymore because
Mhm.
it's a lot of work. I was
Yeah.
doing a lot of reading where like I put that on indefinite hiatus, I think in 2022, and I'm still just like recovering from it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so a lot of my reading choices also align with what my author need is at the time.
Okay.
Um,
Makes sense.
so like in August, I think I just needed to like really lean into the mood reading. We're not going to talk about how many books are not tracked but started because I'm just like finding like what I need.
Yeah.
Um, and I know like fall is a big like arc time, so I'm definitely just seeing what was sent to me via NetGalley and
Mhm.
seeing what aligns, what I can talk about. Yeah, and it was interesting because I just went on like the front page of my blog, yesterday, and the top like the trending posts are like a gothic horror, two lesbian books, and a short story collection. I'm like, yeah, yeah, that feels good.
Yeah, that works. The vibe is there. I think that it is really so smart to like encompass everything with your author brand, because it's going to be less work for you getting, somebody comes in for a review of a book that has similar things like what you're writing, that's a potential new reader or people who are reading what you write and then they come and they read a review and they're like, oh, they find another indie author and you're just like you said, like you're uplifting the entire community. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I think also thinking of that reader perspective does make the marketing kind of easier.
Yeah.
Where like my yeah, so in September I'm kind of back on with marketing before a very specific thing. It is Sapphic September.
Yes.
And so for on my Instagram and TikTok, I'll be just doing a lot of like the book stack reels. Maybe
Mhm.
you've seen them where I just pick like four books and I'm like,
Yeah.
read this if you want scary sapphics. And it's like not overwhelming, but it's also not books you've seen
Yeah.
everywhere on online already because I do limit it to things I've personally read and can personally endorse.
Yeah. And I always love book things like that because you see the big names, the big books that people are always talking about. And I feel like there are so many books that are not being talked about that are better or they suit my taste. And so I love when I get somebody who can give me like those really specific, not as well-known recommendations.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of looking at how I want to exist online and how
Mm.
like my author brand exists
Yeah.
online.
Yeah, that's smart. Speaking of branding and existing online, we're going to pivot to how you exist in real life. You attend a lot of events, both as an author, as a participant. As an author, what has it been like to connect with readers in person and just see people's eyes light up when they hear what your book is about?
I'm not used to it whatsoever. I
Does
think
it
I
freak
still
you out?
pause. What?
Does it freak you out a little bit?
A little bit, but that's because like the online reception is very strange because I do basically write for like my six freak friends and like anyone else who picks it up. It's like
Yeah,
either you are also could be one of my six freak friends or you're like someone I've never heard of. But there's like a lot of, especially in indie, where it's like such a small community, but there are some books that are like super big,
yeah.
right? And so like one of the things I know I've had to stop doing for my mental health is stop checking like queer vampire book recs, LGBT horror, because I'm like, no, your books are like after a certain point, like my books just aren't on them. And I'm like, stop stepping on this rake.
Yeah.
Um, so it's it's like jarring when you come up and you're like pitching in person and like the person's also receptive to it. And especially if the pitch isn't like perfect. So
Yeah.
like there's a lot that like you could learn from like author agent pitching that is applicable to like author reader pitching, but like
Mhm.
you can get way more silly with it to readers than you can to like you can like spew out a bunch of vibes and people will be like, yeah, let's
Yes.
go. The thing that I still haven't really figured out how to react to appropriately is when someone brings a copy for me to sign.
Oh, that makes me so
Because
happy though.
that's the other thing with indie where like you'll get signed book orders and it'll be
Mhm.
a bunch of people you know. So when it's someone you've never heard of, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, hello.
You read
Um,
this. Where did you find this? How did you get a copy? I did not give it to you. Yeah.
right, like, okay, cool. This is so cool. Um, but yeah, and so that yeah, that like face to face, I think,
Mhm.
is just something that takes practice.
Yeah. No,
And
and
I'm
that's really
ex
cool. I'm just trying to imagine like people coming up to you with your book and being like, sign this. And
Yeah, one of the coolest moments was at Lavender Con, where someone came to buy my book because they already had a tattoo of one of Soren's art.
that's
And I
cool.
was like texting Soren after, like, Hexen, someone came with like your art on their arm. And he's like, I feel famous. I'm like, you're famous to me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for the record, let the record show that the next time I see you in person, whenever that might be, you will be signing my books. Just as an
I
FYI.
do come prepared with all three
Yes,
pens for
excellent.
such for such emergencies.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like that's important. Like like you have to walk around because there will just be like random people, especially if you're at a book event, that will be like, wait a second, I know you. And like they go through their little cart and they're like, here, sign this.
yeah.
So
Yeah, so that's been like really fun and also so I do talk about a lot how trying to get into I did talk a lot about how getting into trad publishing was like weirdly demoralizing, but also touching a bit more on the mental health part, like online can also be really demoralizing
yeah.
just because there's so much happening all the time. And it's hard to like figure out like both diagnose and then like figure out what the response is to the struggle.
Hmm.
Where like for me, it's like, okay, I see people I know I've sent the book to who just like aren't platforming it and like there's only so much you can do, right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, so I think one of the more like mental health self-care things I can definitely advocate for as an author is like really figuring out what actually is in your locus of control.
Yes.
So for example, like very recently, there's this really cool horror reader who like our tastes align, and I thought they'd be really into my books,
Mhm.
where I was like, hey, your taste is cool. You read blah blah blah. Here's why you should
Yeah.
read these things. And it turns out that like apparently no indie author had made that outreach to them. Like I
Oh,
was the first, and I was like, oh, okay. So like
yeah.
yeah, so like the only thing I could control was doing the outreach. How they respond to it, that's not for me, but like
Right.
so much. So much of the work is just doing the first step.
That's so true. And that can be really intimidating because you're like, wait, but like I'm gonna do this, they won't want it. And you're already like we already shut ourselves down before we even try, and we need to not do that.
Yeah, because yeah, also the thing that I found is a comment I also can't figure out how to respond to appropriately, where someone's like, I'm not usually into like XYZ, but I like this a lot. So it's also why I just like present my work as it exists.
Yes.
And what you think you can handle, that's up to you. I'm giving you the tools to make the determination. Like years of writing content warnings
Yeah.
for other books equipped me to write my own, let me put it that way.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So what is your like overall best piece of advice for other writers who are looking to self-publish?
I think, yeah, if I really had to pick one thing, it's expectation management,
Okay.
where like a thing that I'm gonna need to expound on at some point. I think I'm doing that this month in my newsletter is the trifecta of book outcomes that like kind of drives everything that I
Mm,
do, where it's are you doing it for the money? Are you doing it to make art? Or are you doing it to just have a book out? And like
okay.
these things might overlap, but very rarely is it all at once. It's usually one, two, or three, right? So
Mm,
like with fealty, and actually like my lens on it is I do it for the art. So like all of my like sales goals specifically are just I want to break even on the art. Because if I want to try books to make money, I'd be writing very different
right.
fiction. It would be like way more accessible in increasingly specific ways. And like even in the wake of like the itch situation where they like deplatform people for stuff that's in the content warnings and not necessarily even in the fiction, which whole other discussion on if that should be a distinction, but like whatever, if they saw that you put like essay in your thing and now essay is banned, like you content warning for a mention of essay, your thing's banned as if it has essay in it.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of funny because I was like deep into volume, like I was at the 85% mark of volume two when the cell went down. And I was just like, oh, should I like tone everything? And I'm like, no, let's make it worse.
Yeah, and I feel like that's an appropriate response. Like I am not a fan of censorship in any way. Like I love content warnings just saying this is what you're getting into. Like this is what this is going to contain so that you can go in with that knowledge. But like let's not censor things. I don't not a fan at all.
Yeah, and it's like just because you didn't like it doesn't mean it shouldn't exist.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You don't get to
Um,
make those choices, especially for other people. You only get to make those choices for yourself.
yeah, and so like, yeah, I basically just manage my art expectations with like what I want to make.
Mhm.
Because especially when it comes to like what the more generic version would be, it's like I can go buy that book. I could probably
Yes.
go buy that book. Like if I wanted to read more like Romanoff fiction, I think one came out on the same day Fealty did. So
Very, very
like I
possible.
opened up The Devils by Joe Abercrombie and I'm immediately met with Secret Princess subplot. I'm like, God damn it, can't escape. Uh,
Everywhere.
so yeah, so like yeah, because with the expectation management bit, it also informs like how you market,
Mhm.
what things make you crash out. There will be things that make you crash out that you did not expect.
Yeah, and you've got to be prepared for all that. Makes sense.
Yeah, and a lot of like also get a group chat. Just get a group chat. And by get a group chat, I mean find a few authors who like you are friends with, who
Mhm.
you can trust to crash out not on main. Because
Yes.
there are a lot of discussions that I blessedly get screenshots of because I am not on threads of like I saw several posts of people like crashing out about author clicks, and I'm like, these seem like thoughts for the group chat you so desperately want to be in.
Yeah, I think that is always one of my pet peeves. I'm like, I don't understand why we're taking this to the public. Just like have your moment with your people, get all your feels out, and then move on with your life.
And especially in indie, because the community seems big, the community is so small.
Hmm.
Like we talk to each other.
Right.
If like if you've had a good experience, other people probably have good experiences with the person. And if someone's being weird to you, other people probably
Yep.
had things. And if you're the weird one, you will find out very quickly.
Yeah. No, that
Because,
makes sense.
yeah, because for me, it's also like my time is so fractured that I'm just like, part of the reason why I pulled back so much is how much of like reading had also become like a social performance, where sometimes
Hmm.
I just want to read about a thing and then not feel like I have to write 5 to 800 words about it.
Yeah. Or not discuss it. Like, I just want to enjoy it and not do anything else with it. It just exists. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Like I am just refilling the well. I am not being a curator.
Yeah. No, this is a lot of really good wisdom. And Scribblers, Ladz does have a fantastic newsletter. And if you go to their website, you'll be able to subscribe for that. Or you know what? I'm just going to put a link in the description below the video, so you guys can just click
Yeah, my
right
card
there.
is has all the stuff, so
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be perfect. Because like you get a lot of publishing knowledge, you're going to get a lot of writing knowledge, and there's like this is a well. This is a well you should tap into, guys.
thank you.
All right, so we have made it to our lightning round questions. I've got three for you. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, so number one, if you could have any cryptid as a pet, what would you have and why?
I feel like Mothman. But like the cute one from SMT5, not the one everyone would like to bang, to be perfectly clear.
I'm glad that you differentiated. That's good. That's good. Specificity.
I know what I'm about.
Why? Why Mothman? The cute one.
Because I love quotes like, look at this dumbass who has too many friends.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All right. Number two, what book have you read this year that we all need to add to our TBR like immediately?
Okay, so I brought two
Okay, excellent.
because they're both important to me for
Break the
different
rules. I love
reasons.
it.
All right, so and also because I'm the type of reader who likes to read things that make me feel real bad, especially when times are real bad, because like no matter what day I'm having, someone else
Else is
is
having it
having
worse.
it
Okay.
worse.
Yeah.
But also there's like the catharsis of like watching them deal with it, and then you're like,
Yes.
okay, maybe things are fine.
And sometimes you
But
need
for
that. That's very important.
And so for two very different reasons. The first one is Chain Gang All Stars. Um, it's like if you need to know everything that is wrong with America right now, that's a book to read. It's
Okay.
very good. And then the other one is Metal from Heaven, which is an industrial revolution fantasy with the
Okay.
lesbians in it.
Okay. I'm adding both of these like right. I'm gonna are these indie books?
So these are both traditionally published.
Well, okay. Just to make it
But if you
easier to
want an
find.
indie and you're still waiting for Electo, read Name Her Holy by Audrey Ennis.
Okay.
It's about a disabled chosen one and her trans lady knight
That also sounds absolutely amazing.
trying
So
to
I have
figure out why planets are disappearing randomly.
yeah, so now
The
I have
stars
enough
are wrong.
books.
Send lesbians to fix it.
I mean, if you do want things fixed, I feel like lesbians are a solid choice.
Just send a butch. The butch will figure it out.
99% of the time, absolutely. You're like, okay, problem solved. Um, all right. So, third question, number three. If you could sit down to have dinner with any author and pick their brain on writing, who would you choose?
Oh man, I hate that both of the ones that I would choose are dead.
But
Unfortunately,
but you would get to
would
get
happily
to have
want
dinner,
to
yeah.
pick Tanith Lee's brain because if you're looking for some fucky fantasy, that is someone I highly recommend. Wow, does her work slap?
Yeah.
And two is Mervyn Peake, who wrote and did not finish Gormenghast, mostly to figure out how like that story happened because the
Okay.
language is so precise. But yeah, pick his brain on how to structure a narrative and a sentence.
That sounds absolutely amazing. And of course, it would be all expenses paid. You guys could go anywhere you want. So, like, if you wanted to go to,
We're having a seance is what's happening
yes,
here.
we're gonna get this. Pizza will be served, like whatever it is that you want. Yeah.
Yep.
No, this is awesome. Oh my gosh. So guys, Scribblers, you can find links to Ladz's webpage down below. Be sure to check it out. Sign up for that newsletter. That link is also going to be down below. Order all of their books, find them on social media, go to an event and find them there. Lads, just thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you and getting to catch up because it has been, I think the last time I saw you was
I think it was 20. Were
three.
you at Sirens in 2021?
The 2021 was online, wasn't it?
No,
No,
that's
2020 was
when.
online. So 2021, yeah, 2021 was the last time.
Oh
Yes,
my
I was at
God.
Sirens. Yes, I was. Yep. Which, guys, if you
Yeah.
don't know what Sirens is, it's one of the best conferences I personally have ever been to. Um,
And also for any trans listeners, it's very gender inclusive. They
yes,
taught me the phrase marginalized genders, and boy, howdy do I wish everyone else would use the phrase marginalized genders
yeah, yeah. Like it's
as
just
an agender person who
so
looks the way I do.
it's so good though. Like it's so like you said, it's so inclusive. It's fantastic. And now this has turned into a commercial for Sirens, but I don't care. Like it's so good.
No, Sirens 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll drop the link for that down below because tickets are on sale and you can meet Lads and me,
Yee.
but more importantly, Lads. All right. So just thank you so much. Anything else you want to share with our listeners?
Go write and read some weird books.
Absolutely. Good advice. Good advice. All right, Scribblers, you know the drill. I need you to hit the like button. I need you to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Happy writing.
Bye.